Welcome, fellow dreamers. Welcome to Northland Homestead. So in today's video, I'm going to share an antique haul with you. We recently went to Ohio to visit our family and to meet our new baby niece, which was just wonderful to meet our little niece and to spend time with family. It's always a treasure and a treat. But we also went to an antique mall. I went with my two parents and my oldest brother, Shane, and it was just a wonderful time to bond with them and experience, something that I really enjoy with my family. And also I was able to pick up some really great finds. So let's get into the haul. So I don't remember the name of the antique mall that we visited, but I'll definitely put it in the description box below, and I'll try to leave it on the screen here. So the first thing that I'm going to share with you is this big basket. This was only $20, which I'm absolutely so baffled by because normally baskets this size will definitely go for much more. And I've purchased much smaller baskets for $15 or $12 or somewhere in that range. So to find one this size for that price I thought was absolutely amazing. So I had to pick this up. This will have multiple purposes. The primary purpose I bought it for is for laundry. So I have the old plastic laundry baskets that are very traditional, everyone uses, but I just think they're not very pretty. They make the job a little less enjoyable. So anytime I can find something that is a little more aesthetically pleasing, but is also practical, I love items like that. So I can also use this for large harvests. So if I have just a couple of green beans to pick off the vine, I have much smaller baskets that I would use for that purpose. But if I have a bunch of peppers to harvest or a bunch of potatoes, this basket will come in handy for such a large quantity to harvest. I could also put this in our living room with some blankets in it or lots of other uses, but I'm really, really pleased with this find. Another thing I purchased was this picture, which is of a red barn on a hillside. I absolutely love red barns. Anytime that I see one, I try to take a picture of it or at least just enjoy the sight of it. But to have one on my wall is all the better. In that vein of pictures, I also picked up this picture here, which I really loved the picture itself as well as the wooden frame. But I also really liked that it's some sort of fabric-y texture. This is not like a regular canvas that you would find for paintings. This seems to be some sort of, I don't know, like I said, it kind of feels like a fabric, almost like velvet or something like that, but not quite velvet either. I'm not sure what kind of fabric it would be, but I thought that made it really unique. I've never really seen a picture like this with some sort of more softer fabric-y texture. So I wanted to pick this up as well. I think this item was about $20 to $25. I also picked up this rug beater. So I liked that it was a heart shape, and I also liked that it would look really pretty hung on a wall. I love items, like I said, that have duality, that are both beautiful as well as practical, like the basket. Now this I will obviously use to hang on my wall as decor, but I will also obviously use it to beat rugs, just as they did years ago when this was made. So I just loved that this could be both beautiful as well as practical. I also picked up this picture, which was hand cross-stitched, which I love items like this, that somebody took all that time and talent to put into something, and now I get to enjoy it and it gets to be showcased on my wall. I love that I have no idea who made this piece, and they had no idea that it would end up in my home, but yet here we are. And I love that that story continues, and I can pass it down to, family if they want it, or send it back to an antique shop that someone else will love eventually. But I just really like items with stories and history behind it. Even if you don't know that story, you can imagine, and it makes it more meaningful to own. And also, the reason I picked up this specifically is not only does it have that cottagecore aesthetic that I really love, but it has stitched here Hummel. And my Nana collects Hummels. She has a very large collection of them, and this makes me think of her. So to have something in my home that's, reminiscent of my Nana is all the more special. So along with the practicality, I picked up these two biscuit cutters. So I didn't have any biscuit cutters. I've just been using a plastic cup to cut them into the biscuit shape, which works perfectly fine, honestly. This isn't necessary. But again, anytime that I can do something that's practical but make it a little more enjoyable, I really like that. And this will add to the aesthetic of me making, food, as well as more enjoyable when I'm making that food on YouTube for you. So I really like to grab things like this when I can at an antique shop, because I can buy a high quality item for a much cheaper price. So this was $10 for the combination of these two together, and it came with a scalloped one so that I can make more like of a decorative edge to my biscuits or cookies or whatever, and then this one's smooth so that I can just do a perfect circle. So I really like that I was able to get these high quality stainless steel items for just $10, $5 each. Along that same vein, I got this pastry blender. I didn't have one, and I don't know that it's incredibly necessary. I have a food processor that would do the job pretty well, but this was only $5, and again, it makes the job a little more enjoyable. I got this item, which is a little farmhouse, and it's made of metal. It's like a nice little tin ornament. So the reason I picked up this ornament, even though it's July when I'm filming this, is because I always collect ornaments wherever I go where the memory was meaningful and I want to remember it. My Christmas tree, which you'll see later down the road when we put that up this year, is full of wonderful little memories that I've collected throughout the years, and this will now get to join that memory bank, which I think is just really special, because now every time I put up my Christmas tree, I'm just flooded with all these wonderful memories. And spending time with my parents and my oldest brother, just us four, doesn't happen very often, so it's definitely a memory I want to save. These items did not come from the antique mall. These were graciously given to me by my mom. So we are from Piqua, Ohio, and family still lives there. So whenever we come up to Ohio, that's where we're going. I actually don't have any mugs that aren't girly, because no one else in this family really uses mugs except for me. Unless it's Christmas time and we have that hot chocolate. But, the boys don't mind if they have a girly mug or whatever to use for that. As long as it's yummy hot chocolate, they'll drink it. But when company has come over, they prefer to have coffee in the mornings. We don't drink coffee here, but, we like to have it on hand for our guests when they come to visit. And I only ever had to offer the girly mugs, which my brother and my dad not so much appreciated. So it'll be great to have something that's a little more, male appropriate or appreciated with these mugs. And I really appreciate having something from my parents' home. That makes it even more special. And lastly, I have this shelf. I was able to pick this up for just $13 at the antique mall. And what I really liked about this is that I would be able to hang this probably in my dining room is the plan. And it has these pegs here that I can hang herbs to dry for in my dining room, which I thought was really nice. And it also has the shelf where I can put little knickknacks. I'm not sure what I'll put on here yet, but I'm certain I'll find something to put on there. But I thought that this was a really great find for just $13. You can't beat that. Have you noticed that everything that used to be cost-effective and ways for you to save money have suddenly become super expensive? I feel like it used to be cost-effective to raise your own chickens, and then chicken feed became really expensive. And it used to be cost-effective to buy antiques, and then antiques became even more expensive. And it used to be inexpensive to buy in bulk. It used to be inexpensive to knit or to sew your own clothing, and then all of the fabric and knitting supplies became really expensive. It feels like because homestead life and those sorts of activities have become more trendy, they've also become more expensive, kind of along with everything else right now, which is definitely a bummer, because I would love to say that antiquing is a great way to save money, and in some cases it can be. I think for the pastry blender that I bought and for the biscuit cutters and a few of the pictures and things like that I was able to purchase, it was a cheaper way of getting those items. But for a lot of other reasons, it's not so much cheaper. Like, I found this armoire that was pretty simple, It was just a wooden armoire that did have a few scratches and dents because it's an antique, it's been used. And it was very simple. It didn't have any like ornate details to it. I actually really loved it for its simplicity because I like more simple pieces that are more country, just things you would find in a country home that aren't ornate. But it was $2,500, and I think that's really ridiculous. I think you're paying for the fact that this piece has been sitting in a warehouse and they have to pay rent for this place. And I think that when I want to purchase an item, I want to pay for what it's worth. I don't want to pay for the fact that it's been sitting here for a while and it's taking up space in this place that they have to pay rent for. So I think it's just important to, when you're antiquing, to know what something's worth and what it's worth to you. Because even if that item was made by someone who's really, high quality designer and, oh, you're getting it for actually a pretty reasonable price for this designer, that's not important to me. What's important to me is to have items I appreciate and I enjoy, and that I get it at a reasonable price. So I think when you're antiquing, you just have to bear that in mind. What do you value? What means something to you? But I don't think I would probably go back to that specific location just because of how expensive those prices were, and that only about, I would say, 5% of the items that I saw there were actually items I was interested in or felt was worth the price. I also saw lamps that were $500 for a lamp that I wouldn't even want. It was not something that I thought was very beautiful or, special in any way to me. So I just think when it comes to antiquing, know what you like, know what's of value to you, and leave all that other stuff aside. And I definitely think if you personally like all of those memorabilia items and you just kind of want to explore down the aisles and see a lot of variety, then that place might be for you. But if you're looking for items such as the ones I found, then I wouldn't recommend this location, because I've been to other antiques where it's much smaller of a store and a much more enjoyable experience because a lot of the items are more geared towards my style versus a big place like that where most of it is not. So I think it's important to know what you're getting into. Do your research before you go to those locations, before you waste a bunch of your time. But I don't think it was a waste of time because I got to spend some lovely time with my parents and my oldest brother, which is always a treat. So I wasn't able to find the mixing bowls that I'm after. I'm after a creamy to gray colored mixing bowl with a blue stripe across. I think that's pretty much what everyone who's looking for an antique mixing bowl is looking for, so I think it's kind of rare to find, but I'm sure eventually I will come across one, and I'm really hoping to at some point. That's kind of the fun of antiquing, is you don't always find the items you're looking for, but you end up finding things you weren't really looking for, but are really special and unique, and you're happy you found. So I'll eventually find the items I am looking for and at least appreciate the items that I find in the meantime. But thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate you following our journey, and please like and subscribe to our channel to continue to follow our journey. It means a lot to us and we really appreciate it. Thank you so much and have a great day. Bye.